Welcome to Just Asia, AHRC TV's weekly human rights program. These are the headlines. Government critic arrested in Bangladesh months before elections. CBI war exposes corruption. Prominent Vietnamese blogger released on condition of exile. Calls to free Pakistan's Asia Bibi. Regional workshop on Asian Human Rights Charter held in Sri Lanka. 4 years after Widodo, Indonesia sees no human rights improvement. Welcome to AHRC TV's Just Asia. I'm Alexandra. This week, Just Asia begins with Bangladesh, where police arrested a prominent government critic on Monday. Police said Moinul Hosein, a top lawyer and publisher of an English daily, was detained from Dhaka Uttara neighborhood hours after Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina slammed him for his comments against a pro-government female journalist. Hosein called the journalist characterless. He has since apologized for the remarks. Hosein, 78, was a key organizer of the recently formed alliance between the main opposition Bangladesh Nationalist Party and other centrist parties. News of his arrest comes as Bangladesh opposition parties accuse the government of a massive crackdown against their members. The BNP says police have arrested at least 4,000 of its activists, including a prominent former minister, on trumped-up charges since September. With the general election due in the next 3 months, Hasina is expecting a tough fight from the regrouped opposition. Moving to India, corruption within the country's Central Bureau of Investigation, the CBI, is being exposed as the agency wars within itself. CBI Director Alok Verma suspended his deputy Rakesh Asthana, and a police complaint was filed against him. In turn, Asthana accused Verma of extortion. Finally, the central government has sent both Verma and Asthana on forced leave, while the Supreme Court hears Verma's plea challenging his removal. The trouble began with the very appointment of Mr. Asthana as CBI's special director, despite there being many charges against him. The latest charge is that of running an extortion racket with officials under him, as well as from other law enforcement agencies like the Enforcement Directorate, with top 2 officers of country's top investigating agency accusing each other of taking bribes, influencing and sabotaging investigations, and helping offenders flee the rule of law. India can make no claims of impartial enforcement of rule of law in the country. Prominent Vietnamese activist and blogger, known online as Mother Mushroom, was released last week to fly to the United States. Mother Mushroom was arrested in 2016 and accused of conducting propaganda against the state. She had written about sensitive subjects such as corruption, land appropriation, and pollution, including a chemical spill from the Taiwan-owned Formosa Hatting steel plant in 2016 that sickened people and caused devastating fish kills along Vietnam's central coast. She was convicted and sentenced to 10 years in prison in 2017. After a trial, she said via her lawyer that she did not regret the path she had chosen. "I hope that everyone will speak up and fight, overcome their own fears to build a better country," she said. In recent years, Vietnam has engaged in a widespread crackdown on online dissent. Amnesty International says that more than 100 people are in prison in the country because of critical things they have said or written. Another Vietnamese activist, Lee Deng Duong, is scheduled to have an appeal of his 20-year prison sentence heard on Thursday. Human Rights Watch said he was convicted in August of carrying out activities that aim to overthrow the People's Administration in relation to environmental protests, including over the Formosa chemical spill. Human rights activists from various Asian nations are demanding the release of Asia Bibi and an end to religious intolerance in Pakistan. The appeal was launched during the first conference dedicated to Pakistan's human rights pioneer, Asma Jahangir, who died in February this year, entitled Justice, Key to Emancipation. The Lahore event brought together figures from Pakistan, India, and Sri Lanka. Convicted of blasphemy, Asia Bibi has been on death row since 2010. Earlier this month, the Supreme Court heard her appeal, but reserved its judgment. The court said it would review the case and Pakistan's blasphemy law. In response, the extreme group Tehreek-e-Labbaik has promised a horrible end to judges who dare to free Bibi. A petition has also been made to the High Court in Islamabad demanding that Asia Bibi be prevented from leaving the country. Next, a regional workshop on the Asian Human Rights Charter was held in Sri Lanka. Attended by 15 international and 10 Sri Lankan participants, the workshop was a platform to discuss 3 new declarations: the right to justice, the right to peace, and the right to culture. These declarations were prepared on the occasion of the 20th anniversary of the Asian Human Rights Charter, launched in Gwangju, South Korea on May 17, 1998. A large number of organizations, including the Asian Human Rights Commission, have worked over the years to spread the message of the Asian Human Rights Charter and attempt to ensure remedies for rights violation. The regional workshop also discussed the human rights situation in South Asia, with particular emphasis on the judiciary. Moving to Indonesia, 4 years after President Joko Widodo's inauguration, there has been no resolution of past cases of human rights abuse. Even current human rights cases have been ignored, such as the acid attack against senior investigator of the Corruption Eradication Commission, Mr. Novel Baswedan. Over a year since the acid attack, the police have failed to find the perpetrator. In other instances of torture and ill-treatment, some were brought to court and resulted in life punishment, such as the brutal shooting committed by a police mobile brigade in Daya Regency, Papua on 1 August 2017. President Joko Widodo's government has clearly not fulfilled its commitment to strengthen human rights protection in Indonesia during this period. As a result, victims and families of victims are still conducting weekly Black Thursday demonstrations in front of the presidential palace. That is all for this episode of Just Asia. For more on this and other issues, please visit www.humanrights.asia or www.alrc.asia/justasia. Thank you for watching and see you next week.